Last time on Perfect World post-production, we built a giant drill and destroyed a chunk of the nether, which wasn't very solar punky of me, but I never said I was going to live a solar punk life, just that I was going to build in a solar punk style, which is currently focused more on repurposing old buildings than it has been about creating shiny new cities. We'll save that for later in the series. For now, we're going to continue our reuse and repurpose approach to solar punk, as today I want to make a home for our new drill. I mean, I love it, but it's a bit of an eyesore sitting out here. But essentially, I want to build a great big warehouse out here, which has kind of been repurposed to house the drill, but I also want to put in some storage capabilities for all of the mined goods, because we often end up with tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of things like cobble and cobbled deep slate and so on, and I don't want that clogging up my very small storage unit that we have at the moment, so I want to have a separate place for that stuff to be stored, but I do want it linked into my storage system so I can still request from it. So basically just a great big building for offloading and parking this thing. Now I am kind of hoping I can squeeze it up here, sort of between the hole in the ground and maybe this sort of edge of the building here, but due to the length of the thing, it's probably going to have to go in that kind of a direction. It is a chunky boy after all, but the terrain in this direction is questionable at best. So let's kick off this episode with a terraforming time lapse. I want to get some big rolling hills in this area, so it's going to be quite a big job. Probably going to take me most of the day, but hopefully by the time I'm done, instead of this sort of janky mess we have here at the moment, we'll have some nice rolling hills ready for development. Let's go grab some dirt. What have I done? Oh my word. Yeah, this is not the beautiful rolling hills that I envisioned. This is awful. I assure you, it looks better from down here. Look, it looked better from down here. Still a bit janky. That is not what I intended. I think what I actually need to do is bring this out a lot more and sort of tie it into these hills over here and then have the rolling hill bit kind of going down there. I don't know, but whatever. We've got enough space at the top here now to do our warehouse, so we'll do that. I think I'm going to put a lake or pond or something in over here. Just make use of the natural hole that was here, although I have reshaped it slightly. But yeah, I think some water there would look pretty good. But let's run away from the shameful landscaping we did over there. That's not where I went to put that. I meant to put that in here. We're just going to empty our backpack as well. And you may notice we've actually got another upgrade in here. I made a magnet upgrade, just so when I was doing all the digging up there, it would automatically suck things into my backpack, which was very useful. But anyway, let's quickly get all of this offloaded. I could really do with a bigger deposit box up here, I think. Or I need to be taking stuff out of it quicker, one of the two. There we go. We now have a clear inventory. Let's get to planning out this warehouse. Now, do we have any tuff? Yes, but not a lot. Is that going to be enough? I mean, it'll be cutting it a bit fine, so we could probably do with a bit more. We've got a good amount of zinc for copycat panels, so that's all good. How much mangrove do we have? Not very much at all. I'm going to want more of that. And acacia, we've got a little bit up here. We've got loads of the mixed acacia logs, which is actually what I think I want to use. And we should have lots of acacia down here as well, although I have had to turn this farm off. Weirdly, it was creating an extreme amount of tick problems. So basically, when that was active, the server was really heavily lagging. So I did have to turn it off, which means we are going to need to build a new tree farm at some point. This one clearly has problems. But we did manage to get thousands of logs before it died, which is nice. So let's grab a bunch more of this acacia. Might as well stock up on spruce and dark oak and jungle and everything else upstairs while we're there. Let's just turn my magnet upgrade back on. There we go. Picked up everything instantly. Wonderful. So we are still going to need loads of mangroves. So let's grab a bunch of propagules. We'll grab a mechanical saw and a crank. In fact, what we're going to do is take a leaf out of Foxy's book. He's very clever, it turns out. I know, I'm as shocked as you are. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make ourselves a little thing here. Just like that. Then we're going to glue that together. And then we've got ourselves a little tree chopping contraption here. So let me just grab a bit of coal quickly. And then just as a little demonstration here, what Foxy was doing was putting in the rail like that. Putting down the contraption. And then when it chops down the tree, it will automatically pick everything up into the chest instead of having to run around picking it up yourself, which is wonderful. But what if, for example, I wanted to get rid of a whole bunch of trees? Could I just do this? Give it a little push. I didn't like the tight angle on that. But in theory, if we place the rails correctly, we could lay down lots of rails and chop down a whole forest in one go. But anyway, I'm sure that'll come in handy later. For now, I need to grab myself a bunch of bone meal, when I should have plenty in the mob farm. Yes, look at all those bones. In fact, I can probably put these in compacting drawers, right? And then get bone blocks or bone meal directly. Would that work? Let's quickly try it out. I'm curious. So, compacting drawers. No, it doesn't. But if I put bone meal in there, it will give me bone blocks. So I guess I could process the bones before I store them, but we won't worry about that for now. For now, let's just go get some mangrove. And as always with mangrove, we'll plant them diagonally. Excellent stuff. That's a whole lot of mangrove, and hopefully I can just do this and chop it all down in one go. Oh, well, I got most of it. Look at that. This is a wonderful technique. Foxy might actually be a secret genius. And a second chop there. That has got the majority of the rest of it. Just a few blocks left. So that's definitely our mangrove problem sorted. So next up, I think I want to get myself a little bit more tough. So let's go take our big boy drill down into the mines and see what we can rustle up. So, bad news, I think a skeleton, a skeleton just shot my minecart, which means my drill is probably going to have a whole bunch of random stuff stuck to it now. Depends how well I did at gluing it together, but for now, I need to go get myself a cart contraption and get this thing moving again. Pesky skeletons. Yep, we've got blocks stuck all over this thing now, which means I can't even get inside of it, so we're definitely going to go get this fixed up. This is no way to do a mining montage. Right, let's see what the damage is. I mean, I can already see under here we've got a whole bunch of blocks that shouldn't be here. The back's pretty messed up as well. And the inside's full of blocks. Oh, my days. And we now have a deep slate roof as well, so let's get rid of this. Right, now let's try that again, shall we? Well, that was a much more successful trip, and we now have lots of stuff. Let's just make that solid. Dig my way out from underneath. So that's something we're going to have to make sure we put in this warehouse. Some kind of pit underneath so we can actually get to the contraption. That'd be nice. So, well, we got a bunch of diamonds from that. Wonderful. But 3,000 tough. Excellent. That's much more than we need. Now, we need to work out the dimensions of this thing first. So how many blocks long is it? It is 26 blocks long, and it is 9 blocks wide. So let's just quickly change some of these tough blocks into this one. They'll do for now. So if we were to do a warehouse that's, say, that sort of size, that will give us space to park the vehicle over here. That's how much space it needs, but we'd want to give it a few more blocks, probably out to about there. And then that also gives us space to store stuff. So let's just get a floor down, we'll dump the drill in here and make sure it's going to fit, and then we'll work out a building to wrap around it. And I think for the floor, I want a few varieties of tuff and some stone as well. Foundations in, and the drill should fit nicely. We can even move it back a few blocks. It's very close to the front at the moment, but I'm not worried about that just yet. For now, let's get a building in. So I want the main warehouse to be acacia. So this will be the bit that actually stores the drill. And then maybe we can have a bit of a brick building on the side. And then we'll have another building here that sticks out a little bit further, and that's going to be limestone maybe. Not that we have much limestone. There's a color combo. I think that could work nicely. Now the question is, how do we get limestone? I'm sure there is a way to make it with crate, like a cobble generator, but I think it's with maybe a bucket of honey, which means we might need to go hang out with our bees over there again briefly. So let's grab a bucket. Wait a minute, don't I need glass bottles to collect honey? And then I have to melt it down into a bucket. That's the one. So I'm going to need 4 bottles to get a honey block, and then when I melt that down, I'll get 1 bucket of honey. So let's go chill with the bees again, who I hope are still hanging around here. I know bees have a tendency to wander. Well, it looks like we still have 2 bees, and there's already a bit of honey in there as well. Now we wait. There we go. Oh, we only get 1 bottle from that. Oh, this is going to take forever. Are there any more bees around? Please let there be more bees around. I found 1 more individual bee, which I think might have been in this nest originally, because I'm sure there used to be 3 anyway. Oh, hello. There's a trail ruins here. Not dug one of them up in a while. Probably not going to start now either, to be honest. Come along, bee. Join your friends. I need honey. That's what I get for looking at my phone. I was so close to getting the last bit of honey I needed, and now I need to go find another honey nest. We're so close. I just want limestone. Oh my days. At least I didn't die though, thanks to my shiny new armor. Unbelievable. I'm sorry, bees. I'm sorry. And it took us ages to find that nest the first time round. I wonder, we might still have a little bit of honeycomb left. Maybe I can make them a beehive. Potentially, possibly, maybe. Let's have a look. We only have one piece of honeycomb apparently, so we can't do that. This is so annoying. Let's go find another nest then. I mean, we do have Silk Touch now, so I suppose we could just bring it back to our base and make a tiny little bee farm, which wasn't on my to-do list today, but it might not be a bad idea. Now, let's just keep an eye out for bees. I see bees, which means there's a nest around here somewhere, but they don't seem to have any flowers. There's loads of bees, but they're all going to fly away from their nests if they don't find flowers. So, can I bring flowers to them? Aha, there's some. Right, so here's the bees. The question is, where is the nest? Okay, I've got 3 bees here. So your nest can't be far. Is that it? Right, and hopefully they'll get back in their nest in a minute. And where do those other bees go? They're over here. Right, where's your nest? Oh, there it is. There's 2 bees in it, so let's take it for now. That one has 3 bees inside it. Excellent. Now we just need a little bee cave, and we can auto-harvest the honeycomb and the honey. We'll do a proper bee farm at some point in future, but this should be enough to at least get us started. So we need somewhere to put the bees, and we don't really have the space down here, so I've dug out a little hole over here, and I think this is where we're going to try and squeeze it in. So let's just go back a little bit on this side. Now, if we were to have the nests there and there, then we'd want leaves in the floor. One of the nests is going to be producing honey, so we're going to need pipes going into a tank. On the other side, we need a deployer with some shears. Then we're going to need a way to get the honeycomb out, so we'll send it this way and into a chest. Or a barrel, I should say. Which means we need a couple of funnels. We'll have this one here with a filter on it. And that filter just tells the shears not to leave the deployer. This pipe here is going to need a pump that faces in the other direction. And then we just need to sort out power. So we'll get a cog on there going into that gearbox. And power isn't too far away. And I think our best bet is going to be to dig down here. Break into this wall, and yep, here we go. Power right here. I reckon we can bring that up underneath. Right, that solves that problem. So we have a funnel on there. We're going to do our best to make sure that the bees won't be able to escape from this area. So I still need to get power to the pump, but we can just do this. Or not, we're overstressed, and I think that's because this is only linked into these water wheels here. That's fine, it just means I need to find an alternative power source. So let's go this way, and we're going to steal the power from this dude instead, which is also going to get overstressed. But we do have a speed controller on this one. There we go, that's got that moving again. And although slow, it's now moving. It doesn't need to be fast, it's fine. Right, I think we're almost there. It's currently nighttime, which means I can get away with putting the nests down without any problems. We'll get those blocked in. Then the last thing I need to do is just put in a way to actually retrieve the honey from here. So if we do something like this, then we need a spout and a depot. We can just do that, and there we go. So if we have a quick nap, that should make our bees come outside. Yep, there we go. They should go down there, do what they need to do their little bee thing. We're gonna get honey on one side, honeycomb on the other, and eventually that means we'll be able to get some limestone. I think it's about time I went to go make a cup of tea while we wait for all the honey to come in, and then we can get some limestone on the go and actually do this building. But I wasn't expecting to make a bee farm today. Oh, and thinking about it, I had Fulbright on. Yep, it's a bit dark around there. Well, I went to go make a cup of tea, and then I got distracted by baby for a couple of hours. And we still don't have very much honey, but we do have what we need, a bucket. And 24 honeycomb as well. Lovely. So my thinking is, if I put that bucket there, we'll get a bucket of honey. Then we're going to grab the storage drawer stuff, and we're going to make some more upgrades as well. And the hope is we can just do this, give this a bunch of upgrades. And I'm going to need an empty bucket. And I should just be able to swap this one out. So first up, we're going to get rid of the lava. We'll put that somewhere safe. We'll get rid of the white dye. Gonna turn the machine off briefly. Put a limestone in there. Honey bucket on that side. Put the lava back in there and then turn it all on again. And now, there we go. We're producing limestone. Well, that was nice and easy. Well, this bit was. Getting the honey, that was a pain. But it's done now, so we can crack on with our build. Let's just quickly dump off the stuff we don't need here. Right, we can finally crack on and get some building done. needs texture, details, windows, and things like that. But I think shape and size-wise, this should work. I mean, it's a pretty big building, which makes it look a little bit odd from back here at the moment. But if we go down to the front here, which is the main viewpoint, it actually sits quite nicely. So I think we'll get some roof gardens up here and connect it to the walk. We'll get some windows in, probably just on this one at the front here, because I think I want to put the storage on the inside of this one. And then we'll get some solar panels and other bits and texture in as well. But for now, I think what I want to do is actually focus on the inside. I'm going to crank up the light levels just so we can see what's going on. But basically, this is where it's going to be parked, which means that I need to make some kind of access pit below it so I can actually get to the minecart contraption. I mean, it is doable from inside, but it'll be a lot easier if we can actually just get underneath as well. We then need to connect up these storage ports, have some kind of storage unit over here, and I think I'm just going to use storage drawers for it instead of vaults, because we can hold a lot more stuff inside storage drawers. And then we'll need to get that connected to our main storage system so we can request stuff from it. I don't want to be sending things over to here apart from this mining machine, but I do want everything in here to be accessible from our 2 storage clerks. So let's start by digging a pit. There we go. That should just about do it. Now I need to work out how we're going to offload this stuff. I'm thinking our best bet might be to use spruce trim here, smart chutes going directly into it, with some portable storage interfaces there. So that should do the trick. We just need to get all this connected together. So let's do that and hide it under some stairs. And then we'll just bring this all the way over to this wall here. And then this is where we'll build our storage wall. So let's chuck down a bunch of bamboo drawers. Might as well fill up the whole wall with them. I don't know how much stuff we're going to be storing over here, but I think it makes sense just to have a whole load of drawers. And if ever it gets to a stage where we don't have enough storage over here, we can probably just make it bigger, I guess. Then we could block all this in with some giant girders, although we're going to need some more of those. And we're going to need a bunch of upgrades as well. And I'm wondering if maybe I use up my diamonds and make diamond upgrades. We can always get more diamonds. We got over 100 from that last mining trip. But we're also going to need void upgrades. And I've only got 1 of those. And I don't think I've got the obsidian to make any more, have I? Make 3 more. And we've only got 5 blocks of magma, so we don't really have an easy way of getting more just now. So let's make what we can. So I've just dumped a load of upgrades on those. What we're going to do is stick that there and then do that, and things should start offloading. Wonderful. So stuff seems to be going into here, but it's not then going... Oh, of course not. I need to swap out these trims for draw controllers. There we go. Now things are going where they're supposed to. Void upgrades, we'll put them on the netherrack, the cobble for now. Probably the basalt and the blackstone as well. That's everything offloaded. We've only used a little bit of the wall here. I've also done a bit of reorganizing just to make sure I get things that are similar next to each other. And over time, this will grow and expand. But first, we need to make it look a little bit better and hook it up to the main storage system. And then we've got a whole lot of decorating to do. There's actually no light in here at the moment. I've just got Fulbright on. Oh no. So I've put my truck down, but because I've made it solid facing a different direction to the way I built it, all of these have gone janky. But in theory, this is the only place we're ever going to be making it solid. So if I did fix these now, it probably won't happen again. Maybe, potentially, hopefully. I've just got to go around and change every single one again. Oh, then I'm going to have to do that again as well. What a pain. Right, there we go. Everything's back in the proper place. And now if I do this and then this, you can see just from the ones under here, they're not spinning around and being weird anymore. Wonderful. Right, let's figure out how we're going to connect this to main storage. And ideally what we want to be doing is getting the packages from there onto this belt here, because then they're going to go into the system and then it'll work out where they actually need to go. So let's grab a packager, chutes, belts, shaft, and we're going to need a link as well. We don't have any left. So let's get one of those made up. Connect that to this stock link, so it's all part of the same network. Then if we stick that on there with a stock link, that will now request items from this storage if needed, package it up and send it off from there. And I think our best bet might actually be to go down initially, because we've got some space under here. Then if we were to go this way, let's just remove this floor temporarily so we can get in. But I'm thinking if we can run a belt this way, we should be able to connect onto some chutes around here. Ah, there we go. That's the chute. So let's think about this. If we were to put a belt in here and a gearbox there with another belt, and then this one's actually going to need to go up so we can get over here. Then we'll need encased chain drives. We'll need another belt starting here. And it's a bit long, so it's going to need a couple of belts. Some more chain drives. Then let's make that one bit longer. Stick in another gearbox. Then we'll bring that belt over to here. Stick in a few chutes. And that should be just about it. So let's just cover up this floor again and repair the roof of our tunnel. And the last thing we need to do is get power to these belts. And we're probably best off just coming around the back of the power building here and stealing it. So if we do a few chain drives there, it looks like it's going to be going the wrong way. So if we do that, wonderful. Now, if we request something we know we've only got over here, so for example, amethyst, hopefully it will still get delivered into this box. We've got loads of it there, so let's grab all of it. It appears to have got stuck here, but that's probably because that isn't actually the top of the chute, is it? So let's rethink this bit. I think it should be quite simple. If we just get rid of that belt, then put it in again there, and just stick a chute there. Will that then mean if something goes on the belt there, it goes into the chute? Wonderful. And look at that. We got all of the amethyst. Means the box over here is now completely empty. Wonderful. Although that does tell me I need to lock some of these drawers. So let's grab a quantify key and a drawer key. And the quantify key is going to tell us how much stuff is in each drawer. And we want all of them to show that. So we can just right click here. Look at that. Wonderful. And what we're going to do is we're going to lock the drawers that have been assigned, but we're going to leave the other ones unlocked for now. Good stuff. Right. Well, the system works. Now just to make it look nice. I think we've done it. Our drill storage warehouse building type thing is done, at least for now. We're going to need to do some more work around the front and sides, obviously, to kind of embed it in the landscape once we actually figure out what we're doing with the rest of this space. But we've got some lovely roof gardens. We're growing some veg and some crops up here. We've got our solar panels. And on the inside, you may have noticed I use these things, which are shipping containers from the Vibrant Vaults mod, which is actually a new mod I've just added to the pack. And as you can see, it gives us lots of colors and things. It basically allows us to dye all the storage related items. We can also now make vertical item vaults, which could be quite handy, but mostly I wanted it for these, the shipping containers, and there's a few variants of these and they look very cool. As you can see, we like those. And then with the rest of this, I've just added some shelves. We've got like a couple of stairs and walkways that go up and around, and a back exit that goes out onto the alleyway back here. And in other good news, Create Deco has just been updated, and that's what we've made all of these walkways out of, so that has also been added to the pack, and hopefully by the time this video comes out, the updated pack will be available on CurseForge, and I'll try and make sure that the server pack actually works this time. Look, I'm not very technical, okay? Well, that's another job well done, unlike the horrific landscaping we did at the start. But sadly, that's all we've got time for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.